Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Guy with a Plant. In today's episode, we'll be talking about variegation in plants and some of the variegated plants that I have. Okay, let me start off by briefly explaining what are the different types of variegation in our houseplants, and also some examples of popular houseplants that have variegation. So the first type of variegation in houseplants is the pattern gene variegation, or also commonly known as the natural variegation. That is because they have DNA that is really very stable, and the variegation can be achieved from seeds or from cuttings. And the dominant trait of this variegation is passed down from generation to generation. So some examples of houseplants that have this kind of variegations are, for example, the spider plant, the variegated spider plant, or the lemon-lime Maranta, which is with its beautiful yellow variegation, or the Calathea lancifolia, also known as the rattlesnake Calathea. So these plants are some examples of plants with such type of variegation. The next type of variegation is the chimeral variegation, and this happens because the plant has different makeup in the tissues. So one part could be with chlorophyll, so it results in the solid green portion of the leaves, or another portion could be without chlorophyll, so there is a white or yellow variegation resulting in this type of variegation. And this type of variegation is highly unstable because it's a genetic mutation, so meaning it could be fully variegated and the next few leaves could be solid green, and then the next leaf is half moon, half variegated, half solid green. You'll never know what you get with this type of variegation, but this is the most common type of variegation in plants. And but it's unstable, so with the next cutting you may not get a variegated cutting. Some examples of this type of variegations is the variegated Monstera deliciosa, the Aurea or the elbow, or the Philodendron gloriosum, the variegated one. Yes, it exists, I know, and it's highly coveted, and I want one. Okay, the third type of variegation is the blister or the reflective variegation. In this type of variegation, there are tiny air pockets that's between the layers of the leaf, between the upper unpigmented layer as well as the lower pigmented layer. So when the light hits the transparent air pockets, it will give a very silvery appearance, resulting in this type of variegation. Some examples of plants with this type of variegation is the very popular watermelon peperomia, or the Skindexa plant, for example, Skindexa pictus exotica. Okay, so that's the three different types of variegation in plants. I'm going to briefly talk about another two types, and one is the viral variegation. If you see this variegation in your plants, please throw it away. One example is the mosaic virus. You can see this on the screen. It is highly contagious. Don't even compost it, just throw it out because it will spread to the rest of the plants. Alright. Another one that I'm going to talk about is the man-made variegation. So one example is the Philodendron pink Congo. This is totally man-made, it's not natural. I think they have injected some colors into the plant and it will fade over time. If you are aware and you're willing to pay for it, I mean, that's fine. Kaylee Allen, another YouTuber, has talked at length in one of her videos about this plant, so you can take a look. Okay, so now let's go into the types of variegated houseplants that I have. Let's start off with the monster in the room. The first variegated plant I'm going to show you is the Monstera deliciosa Thai constellation. I'm unable to hold this up to show you because look at the sheer size of it. It's currently sitting on top of the TV console and next to the plant shelf and gets plenty of good morning sun. When I first got it end of last year, in fact it's the very last day, 31st December, my very last purchase of the year, it had already quite a few leaves, pretty big specimen. But currently it has given me 3 new leaves, and the first one that came out was this one with very nice sectorial variegation. But unfortunately there's some browning on the variegated parts, which is to be expected. And then the next leaf is this. This is huge. Look at the variegation. And the most current one is this lighter green one, which is still trying to harden off. And there is this secondary fenestration here as well, but look at the splashy variegation. So this Thai constellation is a tissue culture that's from Thailand, so hence the name. And because of the splashy variegation, that's kind of reminiscent of the constellation, so that's why it's called Thai constellation. This is definitely one of my favorite variegated plants. The next plant I'm going to show you is the Skindexa. This is the Skindexa Pictus Exotica. This is a very good example of the blister or the reflective variegation, whereby you can see this beautiful silvery variegation on the leaves. They are pretty stable and consistent throughout the plant, so meaning you wouldn't see a solid green leaf out of the blue. So it is really pretty dominant. When I first got this, it was a very small plant. I think it had only 4 to 5 leaves. That was almost a year ago, in September last year. I remember initially it didn't really like the location that I placed it because it was really slow growing, and I remember it had this issue of yellowing leaves after I've watered it. So I think the medium is not drying out fast enough. So recently I moved it to a brighter spot, a window that is west facing, that has bright indirect light, and it seems to like it. It has more robust growth now, more leaves, and bigger leaves as well. So even though this plant can survive in dimmer light conditions, I think it really thrives with brighter indirect light. Definitely you can't place this under direct sun. The next plant I'm going to briefly show you is the Maranta plant, Maranta nukunura variegata. This one doesn't look good. Look at the browning on the variegated parts of the leaves. Yes, it is a fussy plant, and I knew it was a fussy plant when I bought it. I still went ahead and bought it impulsively. Yeah, in fact, I think this I would prefer the non-variegated version more. Look at the darker patterns, the dark patterns on the leaves. So imagine this leaf that is on a larger plant and a bigger pot. I think it will look really nice on the shelf. And this plant is it likes to be moist, but definitely not wet. So watering can be tricky, and this happens is because of irregular watering or because of minerals in the water. So yeah, can be tricky. Next is a Hoya. This is Hoya Macrophylla, And this is the pot of gold variety. The variegation is inside the leaf rather than on the edges of the leaf, like those of the elbow marginata. So this is pretty interesting. And when the new leaf comes out, there is this nice black rim around the leaf, which will disappear, will fade off as it matures. I got this, I think, in August last year, so it's almost 1 year. It was a pretty small one. I think it had only these leaves, maybe 5 of them, and most of them without any variegation. I think it had only maybe 1 or 2 leaves with variegation, and since then it has given me all these new leaves. Unfortunately, I accidentally burned this under the hot sun. I placed it outside the balcony where it receives very good bright direct sun, morning sun. But there was one day that was really super hot, and I think some of the leaves got burnt. Yeah, like this one. And some of them got burnt and then they managed to survive. They turned crunchy and dried up and shivered and died. But this is still a pretty nice specimen. So yeah, it's growing, giving me a very long tendril. So I really need to give it a trellis. I understand that for Hoya you need to give it a trellis, and for the vine to actually be pointing upwards to let it start growing more leaves, new leaves. And yeah, the growth have kind of stopped, so I think it's time for me to give it a trellis. Yeah, I've been putting this task off, and it's long overdue. Yeah, I'm really into this type of Hoya, this very veiny, big leaf, very thick leaves Hoya, just like the Latifolia and the Sarawak. I think they're really beautiful. And yeah, in fact, this particular Hoya is the one that get me into, interested in Hoya. And yeah, easily my favorite plant. Next is the Philodendron Brazil marks. I had this since September last year, and I got it from an online seller from Indonesia. It came as a 3-leaf specimen, but look at this now. It has grown to such a luscious plant, and I think it easily has more than 10 leaves. It has a combination of totally green leaves, half moon, half green and half variegated, and a totally white, yellow variegated leaf. It had this for, I think, maybe 2 months now. I thought it will brown and die off soon, but it did not, still hanging on. Yeah, and of course those very nice marbly variegation. This is really beautiful. And yeah, recently I gave it a pole, a stake actually. I think it's not enough to support it because it has grown quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is to give it a proper moss pole, and I think maybe it's due to upgrade in terms of its pot. Because I think recently the growth has kind of slowed down a little bit. I can still see new leaves, but yeah, the growth hasn't been as vigorous as before. So maybe more feeding, because it gets plenty of bright light. So yeah, maybe it's the pot and more fertilizer perhaps. This is an extremely hardy plant. It doesn't give me any issues, no browning, crunchy leaves, like some of the fussy philodendrons. Yeah, those fussy queens. Yeah, so in my opinion, this is really an underrated philodendron. Should start with one of these if you're a beginner, because I am a beginner and this is really thriving for me. So yeah, the next one I'm sure everyone is very familiar with. This is the Philodendron Pink Princess. Yes, I finally got this after not wanting to have one for the longest time because I thought it looks kind of fake. It doesn't look natural, and maybe the oversaturation of photos of pink princesses on the Instagram didn't really help. So the look didn't really initially appeal to me. At the time, I was into green big foliage plants that that give a more jungly vibe, more natural look. But subsequently, I think I kind of learned to appreciate the look and the colors of the pink princess, especially the pink on the burgundy green background, which I think has a mellow kind of coloration to it, and at least it's not bright pink that is screaming in your face. So it's kind of mellow, which I slowly kind of appreciated it. Yeah, when I first got it, I think it was about this height. So all these leaves on top are new leaves. So it's pretty fast growing. I think I only got it like 3 months ago. And check out all the aerial roots. So I can actually chop this part off and propagate it. Yeah, but not till after this new leaf has fully unfurled. This is a new one. So okay, yeah, and this one is definitely going to go. It's turning yellow, orangey yellow, and I've already lost one that the bottom leaf, I think it was getting old or not enough nutrients because I've been lazy and because it's still sitting in this plastic pot that it came with. Yeah, wow, but check out the roots, very good root ball. Yes, but so it's time for me to repot this, give you a proper potting medium. This is currently sitting in sphagnum moss, and maybe later I'll give it a moss pole, and with the moss pole I hope you'll give me bigger leaves and nicer leaves. Yeah, for the time being I will just give it a new pot, and it's very easy growing because this is from the family of Philodendron arabescens, which is a hardy variety. So just give it bright light to keep the variegation, and also just water once a week. Yeah, very easy. Yeah, so this is the Philodendron Pink Princess. The next variegated plant that I have is this Apropenium Pinatam, which I'm going to talk very briefly about this because I'm going to release a video next week on the update of its propagation. This is the mother plant, which is still in a very juvenile stage, but it was growing a very long vine, so I had to chop it up into some cuttings, a few cuttings. And yeah, if you like the patterns on this Apropenium Pinatam, you should check out the adult form, the mature form, because the leaves are beautiful and fenestrated and huge if it's allowed to grow on a moss pole, and they can actually rival any Monstera elbow in my opinion. Very understated. plant. The next is a very common house plant. This is the Pothos Enjoy. This is a gift from my housemate, so I really got to take care of it. But it takes care of itself because literally from just watering to some slow release fertilizer, I don't really need to do much. It is a very hardy plant and it's very underrated because look at the variegation. It seems that every leaf has a different patterns and different levels of variegation. So I think if you give it very bright light, it will produce more variegation and more variegated leaves. But if the light levels are lower, you'll get greener leaves, which is still very beautiful. So there is a mixture of different variegation in this pot, and yeah, it propagates easily as well. So what I have here is some cuttings of the plant in perlite, and it's rooting really well. Next, this is a Dieffenbachia. This is Dieffenbachia daguensis, also known as the Big Ben. I first stumbled upon this plant, not this plant, but another specimen that was huge in a local plant shop. It was just sitting outside the shop, and it has a leaf span of about 1.5 meters and maybe 3 to 4 feet tall. So it was quite a big plant. I fell in love with the big leaves and of course the variegation is beautiful. So I asked the owner, how much does it cost? And he was telling me that he wasn't keen to sell, but if he were to sell, he's going to sell it for like $600, which I'm absolutely didn't want to pay. So of course I went home, I went online to search for this plant, and yeah, I found it from I bought it from an Indonesian online seller, and it came bare rooted. So I pot it up, and I think I gave it a way too small pot and way too drying potting medium. So for the longest time it wasn't happy. It was really droopy, and the leaves were curly. So recently I just gave it a much bigger one, but it's still a terracotta pot, so it dries pretty fast. This plant gets bright indirect light, which it likes, and also gets watered every 5 to 7 days. If you forgot to water it, it will definitely tell you by giving this type of really wavy and curly leaves. Yeah, but it's a very hardy plant. As you can see, the leaves are perfect. There's no browning or crunchy edges. So yeah, it's a very easy to care for plant, and absolutely beautiful. But of course, it's just a very thirsty queen. The last plant I'm going to show you in my collection of variegated plants is this hardleaf philodendron. This is Philodendron Brazil. As you can see, this makes a really nice trailing plant. And it looks like a pothos, but this is not a pothos, it's a philodendron. But I think the growth structure is pretty similar. So yeah, and check out all the variegation on the leaves. So like most philodendrons, it doesn't like to be too wet, doesn't like to be sitting in wet soil. So only water it when the plant or rather the soil dries out. And for this particular one, I only water it every 10 days. And the soil is still really wet, because I think this soil mixture is really quite peaty. This is a relatively new plant, so I may need to repot this soon, and maybe get some cuttings. I hope you have enjoyed this video of my small collection of variegated houseplants. And yeah, if you liked this kind of contents, do subscribe to my channel, and also to comment and like the videos. Yeah, so meanwhile, do stay safe, and I shall see you again in the next video. Bye.